us to do a show on a beautiful Sunday morning to talk about this whole market cap, enterprise value stuff so that it's less confusing, not only for our audience, but for me too. Even as an experienced investor, some of this stuff still seems confusing to me. So are you going to be able to help us today?
I will help us. I will be your guided tour. Market capitalization, often referred to as market cap, is a simple and direct way to calculate a company's size and value, and consequently, its potential growth rate and risk outlook. Market capitalization, from the key takeaway, is the sum of the total of all the outstanding shares of a company. Here, this article talks about enterprise value, but we'll go to a different article to further explain enterprise value.
So the market capitalization is the total value of all outstanding shares of the company's stocks. What is outstanding shares? I get confused with this term outstanding shares.
Okay, so outstanding shares. So they're essentially a company, through the SEC when it registers as a publicly listed company and through its articles of incorporation has authorized amount of shares it could issue without having to apply again to the SEC. So let's just say, for example, a company has authorized 1 million shares to issue without further applications. Then let's just say that the company only issued, let's say, 500,000 shares. And let's just say that 50,000 of that 500,000 shares is held in treasury for maybe the company's investment purposes or to use as stock incentive programs for its employees. So essentially stock compensation. So you take the $500,000 that a company has issued, and then the 500,000 shares, and then you subtract the 50,000 shares that a company uses for the internal uses. Then the outstanding shares, or one would say its float, is 450,000 shares.
So outstanding shares is not necessarily all of the company's shares. Does the outstanding shares include, let's say, the preferred shares?
No. Outstanding shares, in terms of market capitalization calculation, would not include preferred shares because that's a different class of stock altogether. That behaves it's a hybrid security. That's more like a bond because there are dividends. People buy preferred shares for dividend purposes, yielding purposes. So think of some of your bank shares, your utility companies, your very established manufacturing or consumer-oriented companies. That's part of the equity of the company. So your equity of the company would include your common shares that are used to calculate market capitalization. It would also include something, a measure called APIC. That's when you pay above par value for your stock. We can get into that in a later show. And your retained earnings, companies that the earnings over years and years and years that a company keeps for its operations. But the market capitalization is solely based on the common shares that are outstanding. So let's just say, for example, going down here, if XYZ stock is trading at $14 a share and has 2 million shares outstanding, its market capitalization is 28 million. Sure. Market.
I guess what I'm trying to understand is, why is market capitalization important? Do not get, why would someone care about market capitalization? And I have you on the full screen, by the way, now, Patrick.
Okay, great. Well, people would want to generally know what a company is worth. It may not be the best measure of a company's net worth, but it generally points you in the right direction. So let's just say you take the like the largest capitalization stock, the stock in capitalization, which would be Microsoft. It just beat Apple in terms of market cap. That would be represented $2 trillion plus business. So that would be considered a large cap stock. So you would categorize companies based on that, and that would give you a general idea about the company's success in determining whether a company should be bought by a mutual fund, depending upon the theme of that mutual fund. So some mutual funds have, they might invest in generally more aggressive companies, like maybe small and large caps. Again, the market capitalization is a rough calculation. It's a rough estimate, but it's a pretty good estimate. I mean, most people use it, and many of the major indexes, such as the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, are based on market.